All right. Welcome back to yet again another episode of the Upgrade My Rituals podcast. My name is Kevin McKellar, the host of the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. And of course, this is the place to be for productivity, for trying to design this really close to ideal day that we can, even if we come close to executing, we know that we're on the right track and we feel really good about where we are right now. So with that being said, today's episode is going to be focused around the things that we can't control that happen to us in our lives and how we deal with them. And it's going to be a very meta episode because we're going to be talking about the updates revolved around the Ritual Design Planner and all the things that are not in my control. So let's get into it. So this guy right here, this really, really great product that I'm really proud of. It's the entire system right inside a 90-day quarterly planner. I thought that was the best way to kind of teach my students how to use this system and give them an actual product that's worthwhile using. So I'm really proud of it. And I could officially say that the launch date is June 14th. So that's very exciting. Now, I started this planner actually almost about a little less than a year ago. No, almost about a year ago. I forget exactly when, but and I knew it was on my agenda years ago. But I thought it was going to come later down the road. And then something shifted and I realized, you know what? If I start with this, it makes everything really easy, because if somebody doesn't understand ritual design, they don't understand the system, they could pick up the planner and walk through it very easily. It's a very cheap investment, obviously, and it provides way more value than in return. So what does this have to do with things that we can't control? Well, in your own ritual design, in your morning routines, evening routines, any routine that you have, there's going to be things that happen that are not in your control. You're going to be derailed sometimes. Your clog is going to take effect. And then even on a larger scale, things are going to happen in your life that you can't control. I think we all can relate to that. And what's interesting is that the production of this planner was really interesting, because my goal was to launch this on Amazon. If everybody, wants to buy something, that's usually the first place they go. I used to sell on Amazon years and years ago when I was in my old business selling musicians' accessories, which was great. It was a great success. Loved it. One of the first reasons why I realized I had to transition out of that business was because I learned that selling a commodity, which that's what it was, without building a huge brand, was no longer feasible, because the competition is insane. The competition overseas is insane. And it was a race to the bottom for pricing. But obviously with a system like this that's proprietary to me, no one can replicate that. So very excited to be launching this on Amazon. But what does this have to do with things we can't control? So little side story. I sold on Amazon. I kind of stopped selling around 2017. We ran through my inventory. I said, okay, we'll figure out what the next step is. And a lot of scammers out there, a lot of bad people trying to rip good people off, right? And I fell for a phishing scam, an email that comes in and says, something's wrong with your Amazon account. I'm like, oh my God, well, what happened? It could be thousands of dollars. And sure enough, I clicked the link and my account got hacked. Amazon is so good about security, so they shut down the account immediately. After I realized what happened, I didn't even really care, because I wasn't using Amazon. All right, whatever. So about literally 3 years later was right around the time I decided to start investigating again, and I wanted to begin that process. And I logged into Amazon. I realized, my account's still suspended. I kind of went through the process of trying to get it, back. And I explained, this is just it wasn't like a performance issue. It was just a hacker that hacked my account. And they mentioned, oh yeah, it should be up and running. And even if it shows that, anyway, flash forward to a few weeks ago. What I should have titled this episode, what I've learned from 50 plus support tickets with Amazon.com. Oh boy. What I've learned is that sometimes you just can't control things, and things are out of your power. Amazon is extremely, extremely ruthless when it comes to, well, for many reasons, but when it comes to sellers on their platform and protecting their customers. Sellers are the last, thing that they're worried about, obviously, because they make enough money without us. And everything is really controlled through a computer. You only get a certain amount of attempts to appeal a case, and then, which they don't tell you, of course, and then they keep it deliberately vague, and then eventually the email just comes back and says, "We're no longer looking at this. We don't really care about you." Like literally, it's actually crazy. So, long short story, I had to open up a new account, which apparently was a no back in the day, but it's a different business. Crazy, crazy stuff. So finally, after what I thought I couldn't control, right? Apparently I could, and now we are up and running and we're ready to launch June 14th. So I'm very, very excited. Again, I'll give you all the, as I mentioned before in the podcast, I'll give you the founder's discount, which I'll link in the show notes and everything. But very, very interesting. So, while I did ultimately get what I needed to have accomplished, there was many moments throughout this process that I said, wow, I'm just not going to be able to sell on Amazon. That really sucks. That was a huge part of my revenue years ago. And I have to kind of pivot. And I started thinking, and I said, well, what would the ultimate goal be anyway? Well, the ultimate goal would actually one day to be selling on, upgrademyrituals.com anyway. Having my own customer data, being able to market to those customers, being able to, have security over the platform. So, it's my website. So many things that, eventually I said that would be the ultimate goal. So I looked at this and I said, well, this is really not a problem. It's just not what I intended. And I think when it comes to things that you can't control is, and getting over those humps whether it's a macro thing like a business sales channel, or if it's a micro thing that, you can't, you're missing workouts. The first thing we have to do is we have to recognize the fact that we can't control many things that happen to us in our life, and we have to truly recognize that. And what I mean is, as far as looking at Zen Buddhism, right, and looking at the idea that we are really not in control of many facets of our lives, and we're just kind of floating through this time on earth that we're here. And when we start looking from a very large view of a galaxy view, of a universal view, and we recognize and we come back to how insignificantly small and unimportant our lives here in the grand scheme are, coupled with how much impact that we actually can have in the world, that balance is a beautiful place. And I am not anything, I'm just on the very beginning paths of Zen Buddhism for myself. I do recognize the fact that it is a beautiful place to find yourself eventually, and it takes practice because it's a mindset. There's obviously daily meditation, but it's more of a mindset to say that I am okay surrendering. Surrendering is one of the best words I can use, and I've had to surrender so much in the past year of my life. And so I looked at this little thing and I said, it was pissing me off. It was killing me. I was like, what is going on? Why can't, this is so not right. It's not fair. And then, immediately when that comes out of my mouth, it's like, it doesn't matter that it's not fair. And I say that out loud. But the first step is to really recognize that it is, you're not going to change it. There are going to be things in your life that you can control. Secondly, I think we have to look at the other paths to ultimately come to the goal that we want. In exactly my way I looked at this, and even though I have actually accomplished what I wanted to do, I looked at it and I said, well, let's take a step backwards. Right? Like, what is that actually I'm trying to accomplish? Well, I'm trying to accomplish getting this planner into more people's hands. And how is the most the most efficient and effective way I can do that? Yeah, Amazon would be quicker and Amazon would be more efficient, but in the grand scheme, it would be safer. It would be easier. It would be more profitable, right? Having this on my own platform. So I said, okay, well, worst case scenario, I'll just do that. So it's really interesting when you take a step backwards and look at this problem and say, maybe it's not a problem. Maybe it's an invitation to look at things and force you to look at things from a different angle. So those are the two steps that I take when I'm up against something that I can't control. Sometimes, and this may be a third and final step, sometimes you have to remove yourself from the whole situation. Back on episode 49, I interviewed a really great friend and unbelievable psychotherapist, Sina Hoey. And afterwards we were talking and she mentioned, like, I was telling her my problems with this, and she was like, Kevin, like, that's not something, like, it will be what will be. And I was like, oh yeah, like I can't put so much time and energy into something that's possibly out of my control. So now that third and final step, I would have possibly said, you know what, forget it. I'm not doing a planner anymore. Clearly that's not, but certain things last year, right? Certain events that we usually have in my musical life, I had to step away from and said, I can't be a part of this in the way that this is going to be. And I don't see any possible way that I could be a part of it. So I have to take a step back and not be part of it. Anyway, I'm going on to a tangent. So that ultimately is the way I looked at this whole situation with the Ritual Design Planner, about revolving around something that I can't control. So my question to you today is, what has recently been something that you couldn't control, and you were up against that hard place in a rock, and I'm curious of how you dealt with it. Did you find another path? Did you actually accomplish what you wanted to by just perseverance, or did you have to step back? So with that being said, I hoped this kind of conversation around the meta Ritual Design Planner kind of made you take a look at your own situations and realize that what will be will be. And what will be on June 14th, is the Ritual Design Planner, launching right now on Amazon. But we never know. Things could change. So I will keep you updated. I'll keep you posted. You will get the founders discount, and I will, as time comes closer, I will talk to you more about that. But I'll leave the link in the show notes to at least sign up to get reminded of the launch. And with that being said, thank you so much for listening to the Upgrade My Rituals podcast, and I'll see you next time.